last 1 or 2 nights. So for Site 1, which was the Habitat Trail, and I'm including the Bellevue Hotel on this because we found some really good stuff up there, we had all of these species there, and there was a couple of noteworthy species, one of which was the Phylautus petersi, which is a small, tiny tree frog, and that was a new record that Bay, one of Muin's students, found. They had heard it calling, and we were able to grab it with Bay's eagle eyes on the trail. The other thing that we got last night, which I was very excited about, was this little guy right here. And this is Microletta, and currently it's called Inornata, but it's probably part of a species complex, and this may be an undescribed species. And I also want to give a shout out to Katie, who's the one who grabbed this last night as we were on our way home. So thank you, Katie, for your expert hands in pulling this in. And at Site 2, we found a number of dicroglossids, these limnonectes, both Blythi and Plicatellus, Magophrys nasuta, which is the loud honk that you may have heard periodically throughout the day if you're ever out at Site 2 or at night. And then this little orange and black frog, Pulchrana picturata, which is also probably a species complex. So Muin and I are planning to follow this up for both the Inornata and the Pulchrana picturata to see if either of these are potentially new or undescribed species here. And then finally, Site 3, which was a very small site. We didn't actually see any amphibians. We saw a couple of reptiles out there that Muin is going to talk about. And so just a couple of recorded calls that were out there. But one of my favorites has to be this site. This is meant to be the cockerel's sofa. I don't know what their actual sofa looks like, but they gave me this wonderful little tree frog called Theloderma horridum. And this is a new record for Penang. And this was one of 3 new records for Penang from the Herp team. And so I have to say a big thank you for bringing in this prize for me. I was very, very excited last night when this was handed to me. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to the Reptile team.
Okay, hello, hi everyone. I'm Muhammad Abdul Muin. Okay, I'm from University of Science Malaysia. So, as you can see at the photo here, actually we are the one who's like looking for something that's like everybody else trying to avoid to be found along the trail. But then, thank you very much, because some of the records I actually came from all other researchers, because as you know, snakes and other reptiles are actually quite opportunist. So the more you go to the trail, then you will find more. So we cannot actually go to the trail 24 hours. So we got a lot of help from you guys to actually add up to the checklist. Okay. So this one here is actually the smooth slug snakes. So what we do is that actually we just like doing visual encounter survey and some walker sampling, but then we also handpick for all of our snakes and frogs. So there's no tool use, just bare hands. Okay. Then our sampling area, actually we covered nearly all of the trail. We covered Moniok, Summit Road, and then bypass, all the bypass A, B, C, D, and then of course the Habitat Trail. So the sampling dates starting from 16, 17, and then we miss 18, then 19 and 20th. We stay, at the PHC quarters. Thank you for giving us that place to stay, because we need to spend, during that 2 nights, we spend nearly 24 hours, along the trail. So thank you very much. And then we spend another, just a few hours on 24 and 26, and then come down using the last trail. Okay. So the photo on the left is actually is a blind snake. So as you can see, you can't really see the eyes, because the eyes is actually underneath the scale. Okay. So the eyes is actually here. Alright, so that's the Muller's blind snake. So the total finding from our group, we got about 51 species of amphibian and reptiles. That includes 17 species of amphibians, 34 species of reptiles. But then I still haven't really cross-checked with whatever Jen has, because we really didn't really check out whatever she found and whatever we found, so we didn't cross-check, so that's not the final number. So the insight is that Malaysia has about 203 species of amphibians, 397 species of reptiles. That includes Borneo. So Peninsula will have less than that. So the record that we have is, there's one publication. This one is in 2010. We recorded 107 species of amphibians, but there's no recent publication on reptiles. The last one for Penang is in 2008. There's a book published by my colleague, Prof. Ibrahim Jaafar from USM also. So I'm the co-author of the book. So we just listed around 26 species of amphibian and 70 species of reptiles. That is actually not covering all. Some of the common ones only. Okay. So actually the number that we have here, during these 2 weeks, actually quite high. Okay. Okay. So these are some of the interesting ones. So actually this snake looks big, but actually it's quite small. So we have actually 3 endemic species on Penang Hill. There is Nemestes affinis. That one can be only found at the higher elevation area of Penang Hill. Lower, we got another species, which is Nemestes charoli, named after my supervisor. And then we also have Larusia penangensis, which has just been described recently. So described from a single specimen, and then later we found another 2. Just past few months, and I think Alan found one along the trail, right?
See?
Yeah, I think I saw the post in iNaturalist.
Oh, someone else was picture.
Oh,
I was trying to help Scott populate the.
But then, yeah, it's a very rare skin. Actually, it's limbless. It doesn't have any hands, so hand and legs. So the other one is the one that is called banded gecko, Cythodactylus pucellus. Last time it used to be considered as a single species, distributed all the way from Thailand down to Sumatra and then up to Borneo. But then now, for the Peninsula and Thailand species, we have revised, and Pucellus now was designated to its holotype location. Sorry. So the holotype is from Penang. So now Pucellus is only restricted to Penang Island. So nowhere else. Okay. So the other one that is from Peninsula has been described as another new 7 species. Okay. And then we also have a very interesting record whereby last night I've seen a photo of Trimesterus furcata. Actually, that one is a pit viper. But this Thai Malay Peninsula pit viper has never been recorded on Penang before. It has never been seen, because we are not expecting to see it, because our theory is that the Penang Hill is not high enough and it's not cold enough for this species to thrive. But then suddenly, maybe earlier this year, somebody saw at Monkey Cup Garden. We tried to retrieve the specimen, but the owner didn't allow us to pick it up. But luckily, last night we got one, and It's a beautiful female, very big, and it has just had a very big meal. Actually, I can show the photo later. So the other one is this Calamaya pavimentata, but this species is probably also is a complex because you can actually get this species down from like 100 meter above sea level and up to like 1,500 meters. So probably the highland population is actually a different species. So we are still working on it, but then still not enough sample. Okay, so hopefully after we got this, we got actually 2. So afterwards we can work on it. Okay, these are the amphibians. Actually, Penang has 1 endemic species, which is Ansonia penangensis. So that one can only be found on the island, so nowhere else. And we also, as Jen said just now, we got 3 new records, which is Philautus petersi. We heard the call for the, for along the sampling dates, but then we didn't manage to catch it until the 22nd, I think. Okay, and then Macleta inonata, and then Teleroma horridum. Okay, these are some of the other records that we have. So the one in, the one on top there, the green pit viper in the middle, that as you can see the belly is slightly distended because it has just been male. I think it's a red. Okay, and then we have this soft shell turtle. Actually we caught 2, but yeah, we took only 1 specimen, and then there's a slug snake, and then also the one below is the one on the left is Citodactylus pucellus, the banded gecko, and then the one on the right is Gilarusia. So that's the awesome species, but unluckily I've not seen it. Somebody else saw it, so maybe next time. Okay, I would like to thank everybody that has contributed to the success of this expedition, whether directly or indirectly. Okay, thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you. I still think I'll stick with algae. But I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. It's wonderful. Okay, let's call up the Jason team. We're getting close to a wrap, and we want to hear their report. We will follow that with media. I think Phil and Katie and maybe Natasha, and finally, maybe a little bit on INET from Joe. So we're getting close to the end. Thank you, Pat.
Good morning. If anybody wants to stand up and stretch a little bit, it's totally fair game. I will not be offended. In fact, I would do the same thing myself. So, thank you. I'm gonna just really briefly think back to day 1. I gave the presentation during orientation, and it described Jason as an educational science organization. We're all about education and learning. It's in our name. But it's really just kind of the end product of what we do. The most important thing that we do is inspire and motivate to create opportunities for students to learn. And we do that by sharing the stories of the scientists, role models like you guys. So on day 1, I stood in front of you all and I essentially begged all of you to share your passion with us. And you delivered that in spades. It was amazing. You made our jobs really easy and really fun throughout the 2 weeks. So thank you for that. I am going to run through some of the numbers from the last 2 weeks, starting with the small numbers and getting up to the big numbers. So we had 1 BioBlitz. I'm happy to announce that the Jason team discovered a new species this week. This is the wild megnut. It's been sighted on Penang Hill several times before, but it displayed some unique behaviors this week. It arrived with a host of other similar organisms. They disappeared into the rainforest for 2 weeks, came out, and then displayed some very bizarre nocturnal behaviors on the last evening. We don't quite understand them yet. Clearly, more research is needed. But back to the Jason piece, we had 2 live events. Our first live event we did on top of a cardboard box and a lunch box, a lunch plate there. We spiced it up for the second one and got a tablecloth. So improvements even in that first week. But those were lots of fun, and we had, I believe, 6 guests on. We had both scientists and tree climbers from the international and the local teams, so that was a lot of fun. We had 4 of us Jason staff members, Jude wrangling the Argos, myself, Melissa did all of the video editing and some of the shooting, and Haley, who was on camera and did a bunch of shooting, and I think I got to shoot like 2. So I had a little bit of fun too, in addition to coordinating everything that was going on. We had our team of 6 from WWF in Hong Kong. They were amazing, and I hope they had a great week. We only had 8 tweets this week, which is kind of on the low end for what we were expecting. Twitter wasn't a main target platform for us, but just in those 8 tweets, we got over 6,000 impressions. So that's a pretty good per tweet rate. We had our 9 teacher and student Argonauts join us. They were amazing, and again, thank you so much for allowing our teams, both the Hong Kong team and our Jason Argo team, integrate with your science teams and help out as much as possible. We had 11 to date blog posts on Medium. You can get to that through the Jason website. We delivered 26 videos. This is a number that far exceeded my expectations of what we'd be able to do in 8 field days. All of the credit for that really goes to Melissa, who was the fastest editor I've ever seen. We had a lot of fun trying to figure out the format and figure out how to do this really quickly. We'll have some more video stats coming up later. I personally had like 30 Uber rides this week so far. That number is continuing to count. That doesn't include Jude and the Argos, who took Uber separately several times. So a lot of Uber rides up and down the hill. We also put out posts on Instagram. This is a brand new account for Jason. We did not have an Instagram account before BioBlitz. So we went from 0 followers to over 100, so that's a good start for us. Compared to Twitter, much more visual platform, so it was a good fit for the BioBlitz work. We had 42 Penang students join us up on the hill. This was Ryan, who just randomly became an internet star because he was on the trail and Haley interviewed him, and he was one of the funniest people we've ever met. I have a feeling this number is low. Kylie and I were going back and forth on this. I think there were more local students than 42 up there, but this is certainly a good start. We had 69 posts on Facebook, various types, both video and photos. We had, this one blew me away. So 81% is a fact. Of the 13 to 17-year-old demographic, watching our videos on YouTube were female. So, YouTube doesn't lie. I mean, that kind of blows me away. I'm not sure what exactly to make of that, but it is a data point. Our team produced 85 minutes of edited video and 104 minutes of live video. So to put that into context, that's a feature-length documentary that was shot, edited, and delivered in about 9 days. That's not normal for anybody. Normally, if we were to kind of be in our normal mode of operation, normal mode of production, that's like 3 or 4 months of work that we compressed into just this BioBlitz period. So again, kudos to the video production team for that. 104 minutes of live webcasting. Our live webcast, we hosted over 500 viewers and had over 1,000 questions come in during those 2 hours or so. We answered as many as we could. I don't have an exact count for how many questions we answered, but it's probably in the 100 range between the 2 events. We usually do about 1 per minute when we're cranking. There were almost 6,000 minutes of our videos watched on YouTube. So, you know, when I talk about inspiration, you know, this is when we're starting to get into the numbers of, like, you can feel the impact that your work here has had in the way that we've shared it out. There were over 2,000 unique users just on YouTube. So I also should say, these are pretty preliminary numbers. Preliminary in the fact that it only goes up to Wednesday, because all of these stats are always a day lagging reality. So these don't include the last couple of days of BioBlitz, and it also doesn't include what's called the long tail of digital media. So, for months and years, these videos continue to be available. They continue to be free to the public, and your impact will continue on beyond just the 2 weeks of BioBlitz. The vast majority of our views were from the United States. That's kind of to be expected, given that's where the bulk of the JSON audience is that we were heavily marketing this to. I was really happy to see that 10% from Malaysia and 7% from Australia. Those are certainly numbers that, as we think about the future, we want those to go up significantly, but it's a really good start given that we started from pretty much zero, at least on the JSON communication side, going into the BioBlitz. Over 54,000 unique viewers for just the videos on Facebook. So let that sink in. That's a football stadium full of people who saw what you're doing. That's pretty cool. And then over 100,000 unique users for all of the Facebook posts, just on Facebook. So all of the posts with photos and all the things that we shared. Meg, when we were looking to get some funding for this, and said, we wanted to commit to some numbers. I remember 50,000 being the number that we wanted to hit in terms of exposure. So we went over double that. And again, this is just one tiny little slice, one channel, and one type of post. So I think that's a very good story. I'm going to end with this number, 1 million thank yous. I know everybody has said a lot of thank yous. I am going to repeat them. I'm sure I'll miss some key folks. But absolutely, my Argo team, our Hong Kong team, all my staff that helped make all this possible. Alan and the Habitat team, you guys are wonderful. Thanks for hosting. Meg and the Tree Foundation, thanks for the funding to make all this possible. From the Jason side and the Cockrell family, thank you once again for being such amazing hosts and having such an amazing vision for this place, and as always, for your incredible hospitality. So, thank you. In terms of what's next, we love doing this, and we just want to continue to do it. I had meetings this morning with folks in and around Penang, and we're trying to figure out ways that we can have JSON accessible to every student, public and private, in Penang, and start to connect up with some of the other STEM education institutions around the island, so that we can kind of provide a JSON context to all of the incredible STEM activities that are happening here, with the Habitat being central among them. So looking forward to that. From there, we'll hopefully extend into the rest of Malaysia, get into Hong Kong, be the STEM education solution for all of Asia, and then continue on to world domination. So that's the vision. Let's make it happen. Thank you.